So you know what I always say to myself? When you haven't done something for a really, really, really long time, just go back and do it live.
Just, just that's right. Why the hell were we gonna do Memorex? I mean, really?
Right? Why
We
record it and edit it when you could just go live?
just go live because we're much better live. We are much better live than Memorex because we feed off of each other. But the most important thing is we feed off of our audience. We do that in person and we do it uh, digitally with our digital personas. We just love people and interacting. So why in the heck are we editing?
It's very true. That is so, so true. And you and I, we haven't had a chance to be on a stage speaking together in a long time.
Which is ridiculous. I just hate it. They have just been deprived.
Redonkulous. It is unbelievable that somebody would deprive the world of Keith and Tess.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They just forgot. They had, you know what it is? Full disclosure, because I can tell our audience this. I hate content. Most people don't know I hate content, but I hate it because it's just too oversaturated. I don't like to push it myself. I like to tell people how to produce it and do wonderful, beautiful things and engage. But Tess personally, So it's just the fact that it's too much out there. They've had too much to go through, and they forgot what they were missing, which was us, Keith.
Yeah, because we're solving all the world's tech problems,
I'm just saying.
at least event tech problems.
Oh,
Yeah, peace in the Middle East, I can't do, but event tech problems, I can pretty much handle.
we can handle that. We can definitely handle that. And goodness, aren't there some challenges out there?
Yes, and which leads us a great segue, which leads us right into today's episode, which is
No, we can't lead in. Come on, Keith. I've got to stop you. I know it's been a long time, but all those people who don't know us, they need to figure out who we are, right? And figure out why we're doing this and figure out why we call it the Event Tech Pull Up. So
okay. Well, then what? Didn't you tell them? Why do we call it the event tech problem?
we call it the Event Tech Pull Up because the two of us think that if we share our gifts with the world to help educate people and make them comfortable around event tech and all the fabulous things that they can do, they can just pull up with us anywhere they are. They can do it on their phone, they can drive in, they can be on the bike, they can do walking tours with their CEOs or whatever, and just listen to us if they don't want to look at us or see us. So we just think that you can take moments in time to pull up and learn
Yeah.
just a little bit about event tech. So my name is Tess Bismail. I'm with iSocialX, and I love event tech, as you probably can see, but most importantly, making everyone else have that aha moment around it. And then this is my partner in crime, Keith.
Planner wire, and I love your enthusiasm, and it's probably why we do this so well, because you're all excited about teaching people, and I'm just like, people listen.
I mean, I'm just saying, he's always my part. That's why partner in crime. You heard the partner part, and then you heard the crime part, right?
Oh
That's
yeah,
him. That's him. I clean it up. I make it look good. Put little bows on it.
good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, easy, 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 easy.
There you
But
go.
yeah, so what are we talking about today, Keith, to make them say, hmm?
Well, today is pixels or planners, right? Who is to blame for the lack of event tech adoption?
Oh goodness.
Right? There is a lot of great event tech out there, right?
Hmm.
However, i- it just seems that as the decades now roll on, w- it's just not. Planners are using Excel and they're not going to the tech. They're
I mean,
still using
oh,
Excel.
I'm
What?
sorry. I was getting ready to say, yeah, they're using Excel. They don't even know something called smart sheets exist. I'm just saying.
Exactly. No, but I mean that's absolutely valid point. But now the question becomes, and this is, are we going to come to a conclusion during this episode? We may not, right? But who is to blame? Is event tech to blame, or are the planners to blame?
Hmm. Well, I mean, if you think, and the reason why I love this topic is because it doesn't leave people with the opportunity to have a clear answer. I think what our job is to, if we've done it well, is to get them to contemplate and push the envelope with whoever they're working with or whoever they'd like to work with. And whether it lies on one side or the other is, you know, remains to be seen. I think what I've seen, Keith, is that there's been And we speak, just so the audience knows, we're speaking from a span of time, a very long span of time. We're not talking 2020 till now. We're talking about
Yep.
a long,
It was
long
long.
time. There was challenges prior to 2020 that were amazing, which was a most people didn't even know it existed. Kind of sort of thought that it was something that was kind of nice to do. As we traveled the world around trying to evangelize the topic, people were just really truly were shocked and hesitant around it. Now they're forced to, but I still think it's still an education challenge. I think people are not understanding basic tech, basic things that technology in general can do to help streamline processes. I don't think that people are taking enough time to understand who their audience is and where their audience is by way of their level of being able to access tech. Level is one thing, and then also beside that is their desire on how they interact with tech. So that those are two different things, right? How I like it is might be totally different than my capabilities of what I understand, right? And then I think on the flip side, it's still internal audiences too, either at their associations, their corporations, any of their stakeholders. Where are they on that spectrum? Do they even understand do they understand what they're about to go into and interact with, or how it can help and or not help the situation? And then externally, when we're talking about the tech companies, I think the tech companies have made a lot of assumptions around the knowledge of their particular customers and their customers stakeholders, and just pushed it out because they thought it was a great idea, because we know tech is created based on the need, right?
And
So,
how many event
kind
tech companies don't have a planner on staff,
well, hopefully that's changed.
right? That's like designing a skateboard for skateboarders without ever having ridden a skateboard.
Yeah, and the ones to me that have been successful, and I think it's definitely happened what I call 2020 and after, where there are more planners who have joined I would say the dark side, the other side. However, how many of them are placing them in key positions where they are allowing them to have a voice
Yeah.
versus just straight customer success people? Who is on the product side, who is actually driving the success of the sales team to understand how to sell and how to talk to the planner. So I think planners should be a part of the process from beginning to end. If you're talking about event technology, I think there should be some on the C-suite level. I think some middle management, and then other levels as well. So if you want, quote unquote, the planner mindset to be successful.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the problems that we run into, right, is, you know, you, and I'll go to my planner example that still uses Excel, will only use Excel, and this is how they're planning all their events. Yeah. Well, a lot of times it is they're stuck, right? They're stuck in a rut and they don't want to learn anything new. But there are also the times when planners who know they need that there is a better tool than Excel, but they just don't have the time, right? Because so many event departments, and this goes back before COVID, but we're running lean and mean, a little too lean. And if you don't have time to come up for air and to take the appropriate time to learn a tool, because if you look at a tool like if you look at a tool like I'm going to say it, Tess.
You can say it. Hey,
CVent.
okay. Caveat to the audience,
I said
the
it.
new people. We go in. We do. We go in. We love our tech companies, but we go in because we like to tell the truth.
So,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm saying their name. It's been a
Just
long
say
time.
it.
CVent.
Say it.
But if you look at a tool like that, right, that isn't something you're going to pick up in an afternoon,
No,
right?
it's not designed that way.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like when you first learned Office, right? It took a long time, but now we're all comfortable with Excel. And so because planners are comfortable with it, that's where they're staying, because they don't have enough time, and events are so timing is so mission critical. They have to stay on track, and that's the only way they can stay on track, because that is actually not the planner or the event tech company. That's actually their organization that isn't giving them the time and the tools and the resources they need to produce better events through technology.
Yeah, and I think, it's a couple of things. I think they don't also know that there may be some things that they can do incrementally to try to get to different and new solutions. And then there are um, ways in which they can have, let's say, a middle of the road solution. So if I say incrementally, if I look at, I mentioned Smartsheet earlier. Smartsheet is not quote unquote an event tech at all, but you could use it to help you if you're in the mindset of Excel. Looks just like it, acts like it is what I call Excel on steroids.
It's
So you
better.
can upload the what'd you say?
It's better.
I better right? And
I
you
love
can
spreadsheets.
upload that same spreadsheet you've been working with for 100 years into Smartsheet and then begin to have other tools at your leisure that will help you kind of dip your toe into something different and
Well,
slowly figure out, what works, what doesn't.
well, Smartsheet turns data into a database, right? So you can start to mess around with it and do other things with it and pass data to other applications and do a whole lot with it that you can't do in strictly Excel.
Exactly. And that is what we're talking about. Is if you let go of the Excel, just let it go for a second. Let it do just a little bit
Well,
more for
yeah,
you. See what's possible. And then that way you have the security of, hey, I'm in something that feels like it, but it does just a little bit more. And then also, I'd like to challenge our planners out there to ask, since now what I call a heightened COVID has brought a heightened sense of tech need to the world. See if you can have a sandbox. Just a Let's call it an event tech sandbox, just for your department, where they allow you to just play in a few things for a little bit, just as a team. You don't even have to hire us or anybody who looks like us. Just a little sandbox for yourself and say, you know what, let's try three things once a quarter and then see how it works on one little baby event or a sample event and play with it for like a week and put it down, or every other week and put it down, and then just see, what did you like, how did you like that, what are some of the things you enjoyed. I think even if you end up not using any of it, you'd learn a lot about your staff and how they like to interact with tech, and or not, how, what works for them, if they're audio, if they're visual, if they like text, like messages that move fast, notification, all kinds of different things, bells and whistles. And then it'll help as a learning process for you. And then as you're moving on to trying to hopefully incorporate something different, it can help.
You know what I always found really, really helpful? Well, and I'll tell two quick little things. One is how I am just like everybody else, right? We are now using Joy Events, which is an event management platform, right? It allows you to, bring in your speakers and do your program, and it gives you code to put on so you have your program and speakers on a website. You can do your room sets, and you can upload orders for Encore or PSAV, whoever the hell they are now. All that stuff, right? I have been short on time, but knowing what I know, I'm saying, okay, I can't learn this whole platform right this minute. How can it make my life a little better? So one of the things that we've done is said, okay, for this one, for the first event we're using it for, we're only going to use it for the speakers and the program,
There you go.
which we're now all pros at that part of Joy Events. And it's actually made our client event better because they've got that awesome schedule on the website. The speakers are on the website. It looks really, really good. And now we can slowly start to learn the rest of it.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted to go towards, which is, I'm about to bitch for a second, Keith.
Well, that's
Is
okay because I have my second part of my little story, which is I find it helpful if I'm going to be learning new software, and I couldn't in this case, but use last year's event because it's done. Right?
Yeah,
You can go in and you can see how all of the completed pieces will fit in there,
that's a great idea.
right? When you're trying to learn new software on something that is a work in progress, like we currently work with a client that they make so many changes day to day that if I were trying to build that event in software I was unfamiliar with, I would cry. Right? I would be like, oh, I quit. Um,
Right.
but that's not the one to learn on,
Mm-mm.
right? So you learn on something that's already in the can. You assign each person, they have to put in 10 speakers. Each person has to put in 2 sessions. Each person has to connect the two that they've put in there. They have to put in the BEOs for each
Mhm.
event. They have to they have to go find the old Encore, or they were probably PSAV at that time, um, AV order, and put that into each session where they belong. Right. And if
And
you
then the
do
BEOs and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and if you do it that way and you build out that complete event, which this is actually where the event tech companies screw up, where they only allow you to have, like, some event management platforms only allow you to have one live event. It's like,
Yeah, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy, or they at least need to let you have a sandbox to play in that's fully capable.
yes, fully
That you
capable.
really like a true sandbox. And for those of you who don't know what a sandbox is, it's just like when we were kids, we just played there, had a good time. It was a safe space. So
And
it doesn't hurt
it
or
doesn't wreck
harm
anything.
anyone. You can break it all day long. You can do things, you can have ideas. Well, I wonder if this does this. Try it. And you're not hurting anything. So literally, this is bringing me to conversations that you and I have had for years, and especially with our other fellow event profs, which is and I'm glad to hear that joy exists. Is I don't think that there are really enough and I want to say any true event management platforms out there. They're starting to come around. But in terms of just true event management, when I mean event management, people are deeming the word event management as all kinds of things. I'm not talking about venues. I'm talking about if I got to plan from beginning to end, what are the steps I need to take, the tasks,
So many
who needs
virtual
to do it, who
platforms.
needs to come, who do I need to assign this? Can a client come in here and see all the things that are done? Budgeting and so one lobby, was one of my favorite things in the world. Before that, the sea bought them and darkened them. But Keith, I did find something when I went to Connect in Detroit about a week ago, and it's called Oro, ORO, and it's a young woman who is a planner who created the tag, and I'm interested in trying to do a demo for her. I'm trying to track her down, where it's taking some of those elements that you kind of mentioned and putting him to a place where you can upload, you can have a checklist, you can upload budget, you can diagram it out on your own. Integrations are coming later, of course, but it gives you a cool dashboard to look at things at a higher level and to where things are. And finally, trying to attack the planning aspects for managing your event. Not those people who call themselves that, and it's just managing the hotels and the venues as if that's the only thing in the world that
Or
you're
the
doing.
virtual platforms. A
Yeah, or the
complete
virtual plan. Oh,
management
we're a complete event management. They
platform.
have nothing to
And you
do
go into,
with it.
like,
That has nothing to do with the price of rice in China.
right.
So I
Yeah.
am looking for I'm looking for sandboxing true event management platforms, like in real time next week.
Oro looks cool, by the way. See how I was doing that
Yeah,
over
see,
my
there you go. And then I'm gonna
ironic.
joy it up too in a little bit. But yes, and it's cool. It's slim. It's cool. So what we're gonna promise our guests is that we're gonna start getting more guests back on our show and start throwing in some event tech companies. We're going to try and do it a little different than some other people probably have and seen it done. But I want to bring them to task and kind of talk about some of these things in one of our challenges. So, from the planner side, why why there's slow adoption. I think to me, to answer the question, is it was fear. It is really fear around letting go, up off, and pushing back from the
Step
Excel
away
doc.
from the Excel.
Eh,
Step
right.
away from the
Way, we push from the table while we're eating because we need to lose weight, right? Which I haven't done yet, but I'm about to. And we need to push away from Excel, push away. Two, fear of what my um, stakeholders who I'm responsible to will say and or do or allow me to do. And
Mhm.
I say, challenge yourself. No, since our pandemic has occurred, people's minds have shifted and they saw the necessity. And honesty is the best policy. It is. Be real, be straight. I can't do it. This is taking too long.
You know where
I gotta give.
a lot of all right, okay, so the event tech companies aren't bringing in a planner to help them build their software, which so you get some platforms that just are not planner friendly. They're developer friendly because the developer built it, but they're not planner friendly. But with a lot of planners is they also don't understand if a platform gives you a 14-day free trial, don't start trying to learn it on day 13.
Mm-mm.
And I I am the choir on that one. I do that all the time, right? I'll like be like, "Oh, I've got a little, I'll jump into this tomorrow," knowing full well that I have 2 live events coming up next week, and there isn't a way in hell I could touch it
Well,
for
caveat on that too, everyone. We are really truly tech whores. So we collect tech. Like I tell people, I collect tech. Like women like shoes, I like tech. I just collect it on GP. So that's one reason why it happens. Just besides just being tardy.
Oh, well, it's a great way. Well, but because of the way we do it, though, we find the good and the bad pretty quick because we just like, that one sucks. One of my things is if I log into an event management platform, and if I can't now, because again, I am tech, I understand tech. If I can't figure it out in 10 minutes, there's no way other folks are going to be able to figure it out in an hour.
No.
So off the edge it goes.
Yeah, it is. And because you don't have time right now.
No,
Because because again, that goes back to the core of why it's invented in the beginning. It's to solve a problem. And they probably solved whatever that little problem was and then added things onto it. So it doesn't mean the things that they added onto it to make it make sense for the rest of the world make sense or works really well. That's how you get clunky
yeah, bolting crap on.
tech.
It's like a ship with like stuff clunked all over it.
So what I
So
challenge, Keith and I have talked about this for a while, and I'm putting it out there because we're actually live, is that you will see us create an experience to help tackle this issue in the future. I can't tell you when, but we're going to really tackle this. What the event tech companies are not doing that they should be, what planners are not doing what they should be, and how we can come together and have a very beautiful concert of experiences for our audiences.
and find out who will listen,
Hmm. Hmm.
because we are never, it's so funny. You look at all the people out there preaching that you need to, do your event this way, or small events are better than big events, or this is the trend,
Who
right?
cares?
How can you even look though if you're still way back there?
You can't. There's absolutely no way. And that's why I'm saying you need to push. You need to just put your toe up in there, keep going and moving. And always remember, if I don't tell you anything else, always remember tech is not perfect. Event tech is not perfect. Stuff is gonna mess up and flub up and get over it. A-type personality needs to go up out the window now. Just make sure that you're making good decisions as you're iterating.
Boom. And so are we live next week?
Oh yeah. We're booming it up.
So
Booming
next
it up.
week, yeah, we do not have our topic yet for next week because again,
Because you want me to tell them why, Keith? We don't have a topic for next week because, as I told you in the beginning of the show, we like engagement. So, what we're wanting you all to do as an audience is to throw some topics in the chat for us and let us know what you want to hear and what you want to hear about. Because there's tons of guests that we like to bring to you that we have in the hopper. But I was like, Keith, let's ask them what the heck they want. We can't always tell people that they need to ask their audiences, and we don't. Dang on it.
and if they don't put anything in there, if they don't share any topics they want us to cover, then we get to pick. And
All right.
and when
All
we
right.
pick, I just pick things that I like.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is
Exactly.
really good to talk about things that we actually don't understand or don't like, because then it has to, or don't know, because
Yeah.
then that forces us to expand our horizons.
Yeah. And I will say I have been, and I don't keep it like you did, just for a brief second before we sign off. I've been to 10 events on site since May, a couple international
May?
since May, a couple international. And my experiences through being attendee and or being working the events have been very good until one recently where they had no COVID protocol at all, period. And, you
What's
know,
COVID?
that's why my voice sounds like it does now. Didn't get COVID or anything like that. But I will say we need to be careful. We need to be more
No one's
responsible
doing
because
COVID
that
protocol.
was an industry event of 500 planners and they had no COVID protocol. And I'm just really, truly a dismay around the fact that people are ignoring that we are in a pandemic. So that's my little
We had
2 cents.
so I did we use the OLC in Rosemont for as a studio for a lot of our virtual events. And so we were doing a translation only event over the past
Mm,
4 days. And there was another group in there because it's a conference center. They had rented it out and they were like, I mean, they had their COVID protocols were boom. They were meeting their people at the door. Did you do the app? They were using Clear for the app. They were
mhm.
checking vaccine cards and all that.
Yeah.
Yet it was in an office building that had zero COVID protocols. Now, mind you,
Wow.
it's a building that has healthcare professionals, so they're better than most.
Yeah.
Uh, but there really were. So at that point, you're kind of like,
Yeah. It's but I just think that there should be a good balance between what you're
yeah,
doing and give people the opportunity. It should not have been where a person came to see me and I had my mask on and they said thank you for having your mask on. I've never been to this event before, but I felt shamed to put my mask on because no one else had, and it was as if they were looking at me like I was crazy. No one should ever feel uncomfortable,
no,
especially at an industry event, on being able to put on their mask.
first
We
rule of
should know
life,
better.
first rule of life, never give a crap what other people think of you.
This is true. This is true, but however, we
I know
as
it's hard.
planners are supposed to be functioning
It's
here
hard.
about creating experiences where everyone feels safe and belong.
And on that note, where are we at? EventTechPullup.com.
Yes, events at pullup.com. We're everywhere on the internet, Spotify, everywhere you can
Just
think of.
Google EventTech Pullup.
Just find us. But we'd like you to listen in. We'd like you to share your information with us. And, you know, we have some surprises for the future. Thank you very much. My name is Tess Fismail for my social X, and my partner is
Keith Johnston, and you can find me at PlannerWire.
absolutely. Thank you and enjoy your day.